Tre Jones is having himself such a great season. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I am your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hey, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're tanking up on coffee right now. It was a late Spurs-Warriors game last night. And let's just say this episode would have been late as well recorded, but I told my guests, you know what, let's just ditch that idea. It's just ridiculously late. These West Coast games are going to kill us. But the Spurs also play the Blazers tonight, so get that coffee ready. We're going to be talking about that game in a few minutes, but we're going to put in the spotlight Tre Jones. What have we seen from him? What does the eye test tell us? And then we're going to dig into some numbers as well. Who is joining me and who is thrilled to have avoided a 1 o'clock in the morning recording of Locked On Spurs last night or this morning. He is Rudy Campos with Sweep the League. Rudy, I bet you're like breathing a sigh of relief when you got that text from me yesterday. Like, hey Rudy, let's just do this now. Let's just do it sooner.
When I got the text originally and it said, hey, after the game, I thought, oh, no worries. But then you said it's a West Coast game. I thought, oh, God, I'm going to have to get an old man nap at like 9 o'clock at night so I can get up in time to do Locked On Spurs with you. But, yeah, the relief of a text, that was awesome. Saying, hey, let's do it earlier so I can get to my normal bedtime of 8:30.
Well, I usually have like a kind of a recap-ish post on kens5.com/Spurs. And usually the Locked On Spurs follows it up just to add more context to it and get our reactions. You've been on them many times. But I was like, this is just ridiculous. If you're on the East Coast, the game didn't start last night till 10 o'clock at night. It's ridiculous. But but maybe you're not too relieved because I purposely picked Tre Jones to talk with you about because he's a Duke guy, and I know you love Duke players.
Yeah, I kind of wonder why I always get on the Tre Jones episode of Locked On Spurs, being that I'm a Tar Heel guy and we love the Duke Blue Devils so much. I'm starting to sense that you're trying to push me towards the dark side.
I purposely said, you know what? I could have had Vassell or Tre Jones. I said, you know what? Rudy's coming on. Let's do Tre Jones because of his love for the Duke Blue Devils. But all kidding aside, make sure to follow Rudy on Twitter at Sweep the League. And by the way, stay tuned. Later on, Rudy has a little giveaway to announce. So if you're paying attention, please do so. Stay till the end. Rudy's going to tell you how you can get yourself some free merch courtesy of Sweep the League. Let's go to start it off. Let's go talk about the eye test. The eye test tells us that Tre Jones has been playing phenomenal this season. When all eyes were looking at Keldon and Devin to take the next leap, Tre Jones wasn't thought about. Here he is, bringing it on, giving fans a lot to cheer about, a lot to anticipate as he develops his NBA career. Rudy Campos, what does the eye test tell you about Tre Jones? What have you liked seeing him on the court?
Well, the biggest thing is he's a stat stuffer. I mean, he stuffs the stockings every single night. You love that, especially with Christmas coming up. He's a stocking stuffer. What we learned last about Tre Jones was as we saw his development with the San Antonio Spurs, along with the Austin Spurs too, when he was there, was the fact that he just continued to improve. And you know what? He's not your new era NBA point guard because you've got guys like Steph and Kyrie just scoring the basketball, just dominating games. He's your old school point guard. He's your Avery Johnson type point guard. Get you about 10, 11 points. He's going to come in, do all the things right that you're expecting him to do. Just lead the team. And the eye test tells me that Tre is that man right now until possibly a future draft pick comes in or a recovered Blake Wesley is ready. Right now, Tre Jones getting it done. No reason why you need to make a change at all.
I'm right there with you. The eye test tells me that he is the right point guard for this team. Look, they're all young. We all know that. He's just, getting his real shot at showing what he can do. You got to think that maybe there's a little chip on his shoulder going into the second round when many may have projected him to go in the first, but he slipped in the second. Luckily for the Spurs, he was there. I like that he's guiding this team. I like the fact that he is facilitating more so than scoring. Not to say that he's not giving an offensive punch every now and then, but usually it's kind of heavy assists. And we're going to go over his stat in just a while. But you're seeing double figure assist games. You're seeing him try to expand his game in, game out, Rudy, with that 3 shot. We're going to go over that in a while, but he's attempting threes. He's trying to make them. I think all the Spurs have been given the green light to take the threes. I think that is his next progression, Rudy. He has to become more consistent 3 shooting guard in this NBA. Rudy, your thoughts?
Yeah, his 3-point shot necessarily isn't bad. I mean, he's shooting a pretty good percentage, which we'll get into in a little while, but he does need to improve that for sure, especially if he wants to be a bigger focal point in the league and for the San Antonio Spurs. That would benefit this team a whole lot. I mean, think about it. You've got guys like Doug McDermott, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, who are able to knock down the 3 consistently. Throw in a guy like Tre Jones, that would be tremendous. Him rubbing off screens from Jakob Poeltl, being able to pull up from the 3-point arc is just unimaginable. But, you know, the other thing that he does bring that I see on the eye test that we may not notice right away, the guy can play defense. He's one of the better defenders on the team. So you're getting a good 2-way player at a great value for the San Antonio Spurs with Tre Jones.
Yeah, no, look, last night he did not play versus the Warriors, so keep that in mind as you're listening to this episode of Locked On Spurs. But all that being said, he's fitting in nicely. You know, DeJounte's gone. He was the primary ball handler, distributor last season. Josh Primo, well, we know his situation gone. That leaves Tre Jones to carry the burden of the point guard spot. Now, look, I get it. It's positionless basketball. Tre Jones can take the ball up. Keldon can. Devin can. We've seen that. Sohan can. But when it comes to getting the offense going, setting the tone on that end of the court, stabilizing the team, Tre Jones has been that guy. But with Blake Wesley out, the last thing this team needs is an injury to Jones. That's why when we saw the injury report yesterday ahead of the Warriors game, I was like, oh no, what happened to him now? Luckily, knock on wood, it wasn't major. It was just, had a bout of a upset stomach. So they say, Rudy, with them playing the Blazers tonight. So, he miraculously a back-to-back. He gets an upset stomach going up against Dame tonight. But the eye test also tells me that he's just hustling. One of the best players in loose ball recoveries, diving for the ball, doing the little things that helps the Spurs get W's. Do you anticipate his development? I want to say peaking, but because of his size, he is undersized for the NBA. Do you think that's going to be an issue for him as he develops his NBA career, Rudy?
Size does matter with the NBA because if you don't have the size, you've got to be able to bring it in other places. He doesn't have a consistent shot like Dame or, like Steph, consistent scoring. He doesn't really have the moves and the ability to get to the basket like a Kyrie Irving. But with Tre, I think it won't affect his development per se. I think ultimately he's going to be a very, very good backup point guard unless he's on the right team. Right now with the Spurs, he's on the right team because they don't have that point guard. They're hoping that Blake Wesley is that guy that can, develop into a point guard position for the NBA, in the NBA, but he's going to be a really good backup. I think what I see a lot in Tre is a better Patty Mills when I talk about defender and getting on the floor, like you said, grabbing the loose balls. If he was to develop a very consistent 3-point shot like Patty, he could be a starter anywhere, honestly. But he's right there on the cusp. He's right there on the edge of becoming a very good starting option for a lot of teams, to include the Spurs.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's what the eye test is telling us. But what about the numbers? We're looking at some numbers. I'm going to give Rudy some Tre Jones numbers, and he's going to react and likely put on a Duke jersey in celebration of Tre Jones. Well, we'll see if he does that on this episode of Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Hey, before we continue our chat with Rudy Campos, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first to listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And I want to talk to you about Sweat Block. Look, I go to the gym. Rudy goes to the gym. He's been losing weight. Everybody's going to the gym now, trying to stay in shape. But sometimes, you get a little sweaty there. That's where you need to get Sweat Block. I use it every day. You should use it too. Sweat Block wipes are your little secret to confidence. The Sweat Block wipes work up to 7 days per use. Apply them on a Sunday. You stay dry all week. If you or someone you love is experiencing embarrassing sweat or odor, try Sweat Block. Save 20% with promo code LOCKEDON at sweatblock.com and also available on Amazon. Look, I get it. It can be a little embarrassing. Sweat Block wipes are invented by a doctor and they're guaranteed to work or you don't pay. They call the Sweat Block's dry shirt guarantee. Try it yourself. If Sweat Block doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back easy as that. If you or someone you love experiencing, again, embarrassing sweat or odor, you got to try Sweat Block. 20% off with promo code LOCKEDON at sweatblock.com. And also, I want to talk to you about Rocket Money. We love sharing our message with podcasters. You have some of the best advertisers here on Locked On Spurs, and Rocket Money is one of them. Look, I get it. You hear Rocket Money, you start thinking, oh God, money, this, money, that. Look, they're actually here to help you save money. Stop wasting money on subscriptions. 80% of people that have subscriptions forget about that they have that subscription. Maybe it's an unused Prime account or a Hulu account that never gets streamed. There's a great app and it's Rocket Money. I use it. It helps me track all of my expenses. And because of it, I no longer waste money on subscriptions I don't even use. You might have heard of that. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. Look, it saves you money. Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscription when the actual total is closer to $200+ dollars. That's right. You could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. Rocket Money has it all for you. It's going to take care of that, and it's going to help you save money. Look, to cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and the Rocket Money app takes care of the rest. Simple as that. Cancel unnecessary subscriptions with Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. We're back with Rudy Campos right here on Locked On Spurs, talking about Tre Jones. And just a little bit, we're going to be looking at tonight's game, Spurs-Blazers. But hey, Locked On Sports today, you got to check it out. It covers the games that matter from the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports today, available on this side of YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. So, Rudy, let's look at some numbers from Tre Jones. Career stats across the board. You got career highs in minutes, 30.4. That's a big jump. Last season, 16.6, but you get it. DeJounte was there. Points gone up, doubled, more than doubled. 12.3 per game last season, 6 points per game. Rebounds have increased to nearly 3.9, excuse me. Assists have gone up to 6.6, nearly 7 a game. Last season, 3.3. And his shooting is down, but that's expected because he's getting more playing time. 49% last year, 41% this year. And I'm glad you mentioned his three-point shooting, Rudy. 20% last year in 70 games. Through 13 games played, he's shooting the three ball close to 42%. And free throw shooting is around 90%. So when you look at those numbers, what leaps out at you, Rudy?
Obviously, it's going to be the three-point shooting 41%, almost 42% from three-point range right now. 13 games into the season, that leaps off the stats for me. The other thing too, Jeff, it's kind of assists. He's averaging 6.6 assists a game, and on a team without a really go-to scorer, that superstar. That's a very good number because if he has a DeMar DeRozan, if he has a guy like a Kawhi Leonard from back in the day, he's got a legit superstar. We can easily say he'll be averaging 9 to 10 assists a game with the way he moves his ball. He's a very high basketball IQ player. So when he runs the point guard position, his first thought is get my scorer the ball, get the team involved. His assist numbers would be so high if he had that superstar on the team. Not saying Keldon and Devin are not. They're just not there quite yet. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what stands out to me. Other than that, I mean, you're talking about 1.4 steals a game. Again, he's averaging over a steal a game, almost a steal and a half a game. That's
Right.
huge for the San Antonio Spurs looking at defense. And I just want to throw a real quick thing here before I go back to you on it is there's two teams in the playoffs right now. They're both in the Eastern Conference, the
Mm-hmm.
Washington and Boston. They're point guards. Washington has Monte Morris, 8 points a game, I think like 5 assists a game. You're
Mm-hmm.
looking at Marcus Smart for the Boston Celtics, 10 points a game, 7 assists a game. Tre Jones is shooting better than both of those guys from the field and 3-point line. He's averaging better, if not the same, when it comes to the stats. So you got to tell me that you can't tell me that Tre Jones is not playing very well. He's playing
Right.
good. One of these teams would be blessed to have him as their starting point guard right now in the playoff race.
Absolutely. Among point guards at his position throughout the NBA, he's actually ranked sixth in free throw percentage. So and he's very reliable at that free throw line and not too shabby. From the 3-point line, as you mentioned, he's 12th among NBA point guards in 3-point percentage. So he's one of the top guards in that category. All in all, you love the spike in numbers. You like what you're seeing. And again, he set that out last night's game against the Warriors. But just looking at his game log, he scored in double figures in 2 of the last 3 games that he played. He even had a 20-point explosion versus Denver in a loss. And that assist to turnover ratio is solid. He had 9 assists versus Milwaukee to 1 turnover, 11 assists versus the Grizzlies to 2 turnovers. So that is good. I do want to see him just become more consistent 3-point shooter. I think that is his next step in his development. Like you can't teach size. You can't give him size. He's undersized. We know that, but there's ways he could do that. Also, too, Rudy, he's developing it, and I think this would help him in his numbers, developing a teardrop shot a la Tony Parker. I think if he can nail that consistently, he can be a lethal threat going to the rim. Your thoughts?
Yeah, if he can develop kind of like a signature shot, more like Tony Parker's teardrop or something, he could definitely add to his point totals. He can definitely help the team a whole lot, become another option for them on the team, because I feel when I see him get to the basket, he doesn't quite have that go-to move yet. I mean, he still can get to the basket, but what I don't like is that he kind of tends to pass it out to a perimeter player or somewhere else. I'd like to see him just kind of be a bit more aggressive there. So developing the teardrop would definitely help. Maybe developing some kind of reverse layup, something kind of throw the defense a little off, would be way unexpected for other teams, which would add the allure of what is Tre Jones. And I hate this for a fact, Jeff. Right now, my heart is hurting so bad that I'm talking good about the player.
Well, just remember he's wearing a silver and black jersey, so maybe that'll help ease the pain for you. Hey, Rudy, real fast. Speaking about his free throw shooting and how he's among league leaders, or even in point guards. I'm sorry, among his position leaders. The Spurs are 4-1 this season whenever he gets to the line 4 or more times. So when he's being aggressive, that's definitely a positive for the Spurs. But all in all, things are looking bright for Tre Jones this season. I'm excited for him. Dare I say, Rudy, a mini Big 3 light with him, Keldon, and Vassell. Am I pushing it too far?
Yeah, I think it's a little too far. I'm giving props to the Dookie, but I'm not going to give him the entire farm just yet, man.
All right.
I think it's a little too far for it.
All right. Well, when we get back, we're going to look at tonight's game, Spurs-Blazers. Yep, second game of back-to-back. We're going to be looking at some key to the game, some numbers to look out for, and much, much more with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. But first, I want to talk to you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy you got to get right now. So how does it work? You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they go on to score more or less than their Prize Pick projections, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch: NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, disc golf, boxing, MMA, cricket, and much, much more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals, currently operational in over 30 states, including Canada. Here's what you got to do. Download the Prize Picks app right now, or just go to prizepicks.com. Sign up, play daily fantasy sports right now. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit matchup up to $100 with promo code Locked On. So if you deposit $100, Prize Picks gives you 100. You deposit 50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Simple. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. We're back with Rudy Campos right here on Locked On Spurs, and we're about to look at tonight's game, Spurs-Blazers. Make sure to follow Rudy on Twitter at Sweep the League, and stay tuned. Just a few seconds, a few minutes, he's going to tell you how you can win some free merchandise courtesy of Sweep the League. So Spurs-Blazers tonight, Rudy, another tough matchup. You got Dame Lillard. The West leading Blazers. Yes, I said that. The number one team in the West, Portland Trail Blazers tonight versus the Spurs in their gym. How do you see this going down, Rudy? What are you looking forward to?
I'll take you back to the days of Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter and those times. When I was a kid watching the Spurs go with David Robinson and Sean Elliott, even before that, when they went to Portland, it was a loss. You almost just didn't stay up because it was one of those games where I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to bed early because it's usually not very good. The Spurs are playing really well. They're playing really, really good, but they are not playing as good as the Portland Trail Blazers are. Dame Leonard, Simmons, a lot of those guys are just playing really good basketball. Right now, Billups hasn't playing really well, so unfortunately, I do see the Spurs not coming out on top with this game against Portland. I think Dame has a really good night. So I say that it's going to be Portland with the win. I still think we see Keldon and Devin have some pretty good nights as well. Tre Jones back from whatever he's out with right now. I'm hoping he does play. It'd be a really good hard fought for the San Antonio Spurs. But all in all, right now, Portland's just playing too well. So give me the Blazers for the win.
Yeah, look, one thing the Spurs have shown this season, they play up to competition. They don't play down. So if it's a big game, if it's a big team on the calendar, they play up to them. We saw that versus Memphis, with Philadelphia. I don't know if you want to count Milwaukee. Maybe we shouldn't, because I think Milwaukee trotted out their G League team that night. But nevertheless, the Spurs don't get blinded by the big lights of a top-heavy NBA team. So I'm expecting the Spurs to once again put up a good fight. It's going to be interesting to see how they come off a back-to-back against the Warriors. Now, last night the Warriors did not have Klay Thompson. Maybe that helped them. But again, we're recording this before last night's Warriors game. So depending on that matchup, we'll see how they come in. If it's a blowout last night, maybe Pop rested a bunch of these guys to get ready for tonight. Now, there is good news, Rudy. The Spurs have won 4 in a row versus the Blazers, home and away combined together. That dates back to last season. So there's that. But this is the Spurs-Blazers first meeting. They are, the Spurs, that is, 1-1 on the second game of a back-to-back this season. So there's that. They're even. But here's what I'm looking at. I am looking at how many times the Blazers get to the free throw line. They're actually second in the NBA in free throws made at 20.2. So if it's a nip and tuck game, and if the Spurs are fouling, that could spell doom for San Antonio. And the Blazers are also fourth in the NBA in three-point percentage at 38.7%. Spurs got to close out with the three-point shooters. So, tough task ahead, Rudy. You're saying they lose, but at least giving them a puncher's chance, as they've shown throughout the whole season that they can, play with the big boys.
I give them a puncher's chance. I'm never going to count the San Antonio Spurs out. I mean, I know at the beginning of the season I picked them for 22, 23 wins. I didn't say it was going to be a blowout in every other win or every other loss. I know they're going to fight. I know they're going to have a puncher's chance. They can come out and win just on any given night. Just like any great team can lose on any given Sunday in the NFL, it happens in the NBA, man. I think I give them a puncher's chance. I just think the Blazers are playing so good right now. Biggest things, like you said, 3-point shooting and closing out 3-point shooters, but also getting the free throw line. Yeah. It's just one of those things that I think it's going to be exhaustion from the Warriors game going into tonight's game with the Blazers. It's just going to be a little too much for the Spurs. I still expect them to lose. Not a blowout, but I still expect them to lose. Yeah,
look, aside from Dame Lillard, who's really been playing really well this season. They got other contributors. Jeremy Grant, I think he was even nominated for the West Player of the Week yesterday. Yes. So didn't win it, but he got nominated. So it's a big kudos to him. Spurs definitely have a tall task, especially coming off a game versus the Warriors last night. But we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Tre Jones this season? I like what you see from the young guard. What else do you want to see him do in his progression? And give us your thoughts. Let Rudy know on Twitter at Sweep the League. And of course, subscribe to Locked On Spurs. Tell you more about that in a while. But Rudy, you got some merch to give out to some fans. Go ahead, take it away and tell us about Sweep the League.
Yeah, Sweep the League comes to you every single Monday night. We release our episode on Mondays. I'm not gonna lie, this episode is gonna be a lot of Cowboy talk because of the Packers and Cowboy game, which I get a lot of flack from the guys on the staff at Sweep the League, but nonetheless, every single Monday night. But yes, we've been giving away T-shirts left and right. We've had 2 winners so far on Locked On Spurs. I'm gonna say this right now: if you have previously won a Sweep the League T-shirt on Locked On Spurs, you're not eligible this time. I'm sorry. We gotta get more winners out there. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We got to get more winners out there. But all you got to do is tweet at Jeff and tweet at me. And I want you to just say, "Go Spurs, go." That's it. It's so simple. First person to do that, tweet at both of us, "Go Spurs, go." You're going to be a winner. Instant winner. It's easy, Jeff. I make things so easy in life.
You make things easy. I would have made it a lot more difficult. I would have said, like, so many hoops they got to go through, but never hey, Rudy made it easy. So aren't you glad he came on today to give you an easy way to win some free merch courtesy of Sweep the League? Once again, all you got to do is just follow what Rudy just said right now. You get yourself a free T-shirt courtesy of Sweep the League. And as mentioned, subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. Your iTunes and YouTube and the Kens 5 Plus app and kens5.com/Spurs. Locked On Spurs is everywhere. And thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. Got to get that coffee ready. Again, another night, late game. Get ready, everybody. But for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On.